Good morning to you, good morning. It is today. It's actually only just still morning. I've put the oven on and I've put my lunch in the oven. But yes, it's morning, the 8th of March 2021. Have you ever noticed that while you're having lunch and while you're mucking about with gutters or mixing concrete, all those other things that you're doing, grass, quite without invitation, carries on growing, and it sort of gets everywhere, doesn't it? Now you can look at that, cutting it, as a chore. It is a chore, but it should be a pleasurable one, because walking around looking at what it is that I've got to cut, you find that there's things that you mustn't cut. A rose bush, one from a cutting that I took. Did I take that one last year? I think I took the cutting the year before and planted it last year. Sadly, there's a dead rose there. Never mind. And this climbing rose, I wonder why they call them climbing roses. I don't know. Or is it a rambler? Again, that was a cutting I took a couple of years ago, and it's doing very, very well. Very pleased with that. I'll be more pleased when I can see it, when I've got rid of some of the weeds and some of the grass. Another rose. Yes, yeah, that's very pleasing. And amongst the grass, oh hello, I can hear a dog barking. I think we might be having a visitor shortly. Let's go and look at see if the dog's heralding a visit by its owner. Ah non, ce n'est pas le patron, c'est le facteur, the post office. The post office here runs round in these wonderful yellow vans. Some of them in towns are hybrids and some are full electrics, but out here in the sticks they tend to be diesel still.
Bon appétit.
Oui.
Qu'est-ce que vous faites?
I didn't show you the lady who owns the dog. She was embarrassed to talk to me because she'd got her curlers in, and I've just told her, you know, where I come from, ladies go to the shops with their curlers in, but you know, everyone has their own standards, don't they? Where was I? Ah yes, before we heard Gaufret barking, we was about to look at something else we've got growing here. Now, yesterday, I don't know, we spoke a little bit about poverty and poor people, and goodness gracious, poor people. Have you ever noticed that poor people are amongst some of the most generous? If you look at these iris, which are pushing, ils poussent, they're pushing, and guess what? I didn't buy them. I was given them by somebody who financially one might consider to be poor, but someone with a great generosity of spirit who told me all what colours these are going to be. I've got a feeling they're all going to turn out blue, but well, we'll see in a few weeks' time, won't we? One of them's supposed to be yellow, but I can't remember which one. But yes, they give you things, and they don't like throwing things away, so they will go to great lengths to find someone who might possibly want whatever it is they've got. You know, they don't want it, they want to get rid of it, but They know that to buy irises in the shops is far more expensive than most of us can contemplate. You know, if you look at the size of this garden, can you imagine ringing a whole garden with irises at shop prices? So they don't. They separate their ones, and then they go to extraordinary lengths to find someone who might like them rather than throw them away. And well, people know that I've got a huge garden and plenty of space to put things. Oh dear. You see, if I'm somewhere, they've got to be close enough that if they get themselves in trouble with a little dog, they are close to me. It's very flattering. Very flattering. Yes, well, we can play with a piece of grass, can't we? She just tried to jump up that post, and now she's pretending she didn't, and she's not at all embarrassed that she missed and she fell off the fence. Now, why do I use a sickle? Well, for getting in against this concrete, I think that's a better idea than any sort of petrol-driven tool. It gets in there and you can clear quite nicely. Yes, it's that time of day for running about, isn't it? Now, I know some of you are interested in how I'm getting on with some of the actual building work rather than just messing about in the garden and playing with cats. Yeah, well, little by little I've learnt the art, and I know some of you will know all about this, of how to put a junction into a pipe that is already there. This thing, you could call it a slip collar. The idea is you cut the existing pipe to a length that allows you to put this junction in with a piece of pipe, so that slip collar, you slip it on there, you put your piece in, and then you slip it back. You don't just slip it back, you smear it all with lots of glue and turn it and do your best to make sure you've got glue all the way round it. Yeah, I think we're there. I think that's okay. There will be a test later, which I won't film because it will involve me using the toilet. Now, the existing toilet, the soil pipe from that comes in there, which means this pipe is very rigid and hard to bend about. But there we are, and I was a bit confused what this was all about, but whoever installed it put a pipe through the wall. Outside there's a cover that allows you to take the cover off and rod it through, which I guess is sort of clever. But there we are. Yeah, we're getting there. At the moment, the upstairs toilet is a little bit too French. You know, just a hole in the floor. There will, in due course, be a proper throne above that hole. There will be, and there's another hole there for a 32mm wastewater pipe from the sink, which will also carry the water from the shower and the bath when we get that far ahead with it. But there we are, we're making progress. Something I did want to show you, most of these bits and pieces I had to go to the shop and buy, or, you know, offer me a seat and let me sit down while I check the contents of my wallet. Not all of the bits that I'm using came from the shop. Some of them came from that wonderful cache of plumbery parts that that neighbour gave me. And here's a piece with the price on it in French francs. They haven't used the franc in France for a lot of years. I don't know if that's expensive, 17 franc 80 centimes. But yes, it's been kicking around for a long time and now it's going to be used. That is the reducer that goes into that thing there, goes in that hole there to reduce it from 100mm to 32mm. So there we are. Yes, things are happening, not as quick as I would like, but you see, it's all the fun and games. Like, I sort of worked out, I sort of wanted plaster, at least some plaster on the wall. That's got to have a skim coat over it before I put the pipe in the way. You know, plastering round pipes is not so much fun as plastering a blank wall. So, you know, I slapped some plaster on over the top of some mortar, and yeah, progress is happening. And give it a little while and we'll be able to use an upstairs toilet. Never know, might even be able to wash your hands afterwards as well. And I think it was Rusty Glovebox who said, fancy having to try and translate as you go along when you're buying all of this stuff. Well, if you know that coal is simply French for glue, PVC, we ought to be able to work that one out. 4 tubes. I'm not sure what a raccord is. Is that like a sort of a crossbred accordion raccoon? Can you imagine playing music on a raccoon record and in rigid PVC? Now, it's for water coming in and water going out. Oh, and you can't throw it away in the dustbin, and it's flammable, and you shouldn't keep it for more than 18 months in its original package, and it tells you to clean the PVC before you apply it. And to make life really simple, in the shop where they rack all of the pipe, this is next to it, so it's not that difficult to buy stuff in a foreign language. Well, there we are. I think that's quite an interesting conversation piece to have in any dining room, don't you? You know, you can sit here with a glass of old port and a plate of cheese and biscuits, and you can say, oh, that's a jolly interesting feature. You know, what exactly is it? Yeah, I do have plans to box that in and build, well, not a cupboard exactly, but a box around it, because at the end of the day, I don't think we want to eat dinner looking at a plastic pipe that unspeakables fall down. I don't know, perhaps your dinner conversations are different to mine, but you know, I think a cupboard round it would look nice, don't you?